Imagine walking into an ancient ruin and finding stone blocks so perfectly shaped that many people refuse to believe they were made by human hands. These aren't ordinary stones. Some weigh more than 130 tons. Some contain razor-sharp internal angles, perfect drill holes, and astonishing precision that even today would require advanced machinery. Yet according to history, they were created nearly 1,500 years ago by a civilization with no iron tools, no modern machines, and no written records explaining how they did it. Welcome to Puma Punku, one of the greatest engineering mysteries ever discovered. For decades, scientists, engineers, archaeologists, and alternative researchers have argued over one simple question: were these stones carved, or were they created using a forgotten technology? Tonight, we're going deep into the evidence. We'll examine the official explanation. We'll explore the scientific theories. We'll separate fact from fiction. And by the end, you'll have to decide for yourself whether Puma Punku is simply an incredible achievement or proof that human history still contains chapters we've never read. Because once you see what researchers found hidden inside these stones, you may never look at the ancient world the same way again. Thousands of years before European explorers ever reached South America, a powerful civilization flourished high in the Andes Mountains, more than 3,800 meters above sea level, where the air is thin, the winters are harsh, and farming is incredibly difficult. The people of Tiwanaku built one of the greatest ceremonial cities of the ancient world. Today, its weathered ruins stand near Lake Titicaca in modern-day Bolivia. At first glance, the site appears peaceful. Broken walls, scattered stones, ancient gateways. Nothing about it immediately suggests one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. But hidden within this complex lies a place unlike anywhere else on Earth. A place called Puma Punku. Its name is often translated as the Door of the Puma. No one knows exactly why. Perhaps it referred to an ancient legend. Perhaps it symbolized power. Or perhaps its true meaning disappeared with the civilization that built it. Unlike many famous archaeological sites, Puma Punku doesn't resemble a finished temple. Instead, it looks almost abandoned in the middle of construction. Gigantic stone blocks lie scattered across the landscape, some overturned, others broken, as though an enormous force had ripped the monument apart centuries ago. Among these stones, one block alone weighs approximately 130 metric tons. To put that into perspective, that's heavier than 20 adult elephants. Transporting something that massive would challenge modern engineers. Yet the Tiwanaku people somehow move these stones across rugged terrain from distant quarries. Without trucks, without cranes, without steel, without engines, mainstream archaeologists believe teams of skilled workers, using ropes, wooden rollers where practical, earthen ramps, stone hammers, bronze tools, and extraordinary organization, could have completed this astonishing feat. Human history is filled with remarkable engineering accomplished without modern technology. The pyramids of Egypt, the temples of Angkor, the statues of Easter Island, all remind us that ancient civilizations were capable of extraordinary achievements. But Puma Punku introduces a different mystery. Because size isn't what attracts worldwide attention, it's precision. Many of the blocks are shaped with astonishing accuracy. Perfectly straight lines, sharp 90-degree internal corners, uniform grooves, identical measurements repeated again and again. Some stones resemble giant machine-made building components, almost as if they were manufactured in a factory, rather than carved by hand. The most famous examples are known as the H-blocks. Each one contains dozens of carefully cut surfaces, small recesses, channels, and interlocking features. Researchers have long noticed something remarkable. Many of these blocks appear modular, almost interchangeable, like pieces of an enormous three-dimensional puzzle. This kind of standardization feels surprisingly modern. It raises an uncomfortable question. Did ancient builders simply possess incredible patience and craftsmanship? Or were they using methods we've completely misunderstood? For decades, Visitors have repeated one famous claim, that you can't even slide a razor blade between some of the stone joints. The statement is probably exaggerated, but it captures something real. The workmanship is undeniably extraordinary. Even professional engineers continue studying Puma Punku, trying to understand how such accuracy could have been achieved using the tools traditionally associated with the Tiwanaku civilization. And that's exactly where the mystery begins. Because once researchers looked closer, they discovered something even stranger than perfectly cut stones. Something hidden inside the rock itself. What scientists found within these ancient blocks would ignite one of archaeology's most controversial debates and challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient engineering. Standing among the ruins of Puma Punku, it's easy to be impressed by the sheer size of stones. But the real mystery isn't their weight. It's the astonishing level of precision hidden in almost every block. Walk closer, and you'll notice something unusual. Perfectly straight channels, sharp 90-degree internal corners, smooth, flat surfaces, circular holes that appear remarkably uniform. Some cuts look so clean, they almost resemble modern machine work. The most famous examples are the mysterious H-blocks. Each one is carved with nearly identical proportions, not just one or two, but many of them. It's as if every block followed the same blueprint, almost like parts rolling off an ancient production line. That idea has fascinated engineers for decades, because interchangeable components are something we associate with modern manufacturing, not an ancient civilization living over 1,000 years ago. Could ancient craftsmen really achieve this level of consistency, using nothing more than stone hammers and simple bronze tools? Mainstream archaeology says, yes. According to researchers, the Tiwanaku were exceptionally skilled stonemasons. They shaped these blocks using harder hammer stones, bronze chisels, sand, water, and endless patience. Instead of cutting through the rock, they slowly pecked, ground, and polished every surface. It would have taken enormous amounts of time, but history is filled with projects that required generations to complete. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the temples of Karnak, the statues of Easter Island. Ancient builders repeatedly accomplished things that once seemed impossible. And many archaeologists believe Puma Punku belongs in that same category. Yet, not everyone is convinced. Some engineers argue that certain features appear unusually precise for hand tools alone, particularly the perfectly straight grooves, the repeating dimensions, and the sharply defined internal angles. Then there's another puzzle, the stone itself. Many of these blocks are made from andesite, a dense volcanic rock that's significantly harder than ordinary limestone. Even with today's equipment, working andesite requires powerful cutting tools. So how did ancient builders shape it so accurately? Supporters of the conventional explanation point out that hardness doesn't make something impossible. With enough labor, abrasive sand, and determination, stone can be shaped with incredible precision. Experimental archaeologists have demonstrated that many ancient techniques really do work. But critics respond with another question. If everything was carved by hand, where are the countless mistakes? Why do so many blocks appear so remarkably uniform? And perhaps the biggest mystery of all, how were stones weighing more than 100 tons transported across the Altiplano? The nearest sandstone quarry lies several kilometers away. The andesite came from even farther. No evidence suggests that Tiwanaku used wheels for heavy transport. There were no horses, no oxen, no iron cranes, only human strength, careful planning, and remarkable engineering. Some researchers believe enormous teams using ropes, wooden sledges, rollers were practical, and earthen ramps could have moved the stones. Others argue the challenge was far greater than traditional explanations suggest. The debate continues today, not because archaeologists deny the achievements of the Tiwanaku, but because Puma Punku keeps raising difficult questions that don't always have simple answers. And then, just when the argument seemed locked between mainstream science and extraordinary speculation, a completely different theory emerged. Not aliens, not lost super civilizations, but something far more surprising. A respected materials scientist suggested the stones might never have been carved at all? What if these massive blocks weren't shaped with tools, but poured into molds like concrete? That single idea would ignite one of the most controversial scientific debates in modern archaeology. And that's where our investigation takes an unexpected turn. For decades, the mystery of Puma Punku seemed trapped between two extreme ideas. On one side, mainstream archaeologists argue that extraordinary craftsmanship, combined with patience, skill, and thousands of workers, could explain everything. On the other, more sensational theories claim the site was built by a lost super-civilization, or even extraterrestrials. But then, a completely different possibility emerged. One that didn't rely on science fiction, but on chemistry. It came from a French materials scientist named Professor Joseph Davidovits. Unlike archaeologists, Davidovits specialized in something entirely different: ancient construction materials. For years, he studied how early civilizations created stone-like building materials using natural minerals and chemical reactions. His research led him to a remarkable question. What if the most complicated stones at Puma Punku weren't carved at all? What if they were cast? Imagine trying to sculpt a giant stone block. Every groove, every angle, every hole would require weeks or even months of careful work. Now imagine something completely different. Crush the rock into small pieces, mix it with water, natural minerals, and a chemical binder. Create a thick paste, then pour that mixture into a carefully crafted mold. When it hardens, the result isn't carved stone. It becomes artificial stone, already shaped with incredible precision. Suddenly, many of Puma Punku's greatest mysteries begin to look very different. The perfectly smooth surfaces, the identical H-blocks, the repeating measurements, even the apparent lack of tool marks. If the stones were molded instead of carved, many of these puzzles become much easier to explain. Davidovits called this material a geopolymer. Today, modern engineers use similar technology to create high-strength construction materials. But could ancient people have discovered the same principles more than 1,000 years ago? To many scientists, the idea initially sounded impossible. Yet, Davidovits wasn't relying on imagination alone. He and his research team examined samples taken from Puma Punku using advanced laboratory equipment, including scanning electron microscopy, a technique capable of revealing microscopic structures invisible to the human eye. What they reported was unexpected. According to their analysis, some samples appeared to contain traces of organic compounds embedded within the stone. Carbon, nitrogen, materials that Davidovits argued were consistent with an ancient binding agent rather than completely natural volcanic rock. If that interpretation were correct, the implications would be enormous. It would suggest that at least some of Puma Punku's famous blocks weren't carved from solid stone, but manufactured using an advanced chemical process. In other words, the Tiwanaku civilization may not have been master stonemasons alone. They may also have been master chemists. It sounds revolutionary, perhaps even unbelievable. And that's exactly why the theory remains so controversial. Because extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Many archaeologists quickly challenge the idea. They argue that the geological evidence wasn't conclusive, that natural weathering, contamination, or later environmental processes could explain the microscopic findings. Other specialists pointed out that no molds, no workshops, and no direct evidence of large-scale geopolymer production have ever been discovered at Puma Punku. Without that evidence, they argued, the traditional explanation still remains a stronger one. So where does that leave us? Two competing explanations, both supported by intelligent researchers, both attempting to explain one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. One says, patient craftsmen shaped every stone by hand. The other suggests, ancient chemistry made the impossible possible. Neither side has completely convinced the other, and perhaps that's exactly why Puma Punku continues to fascinate the world. But there is one final piece of this mystery, one that doesn't involve microscopes, or engineering, or chemistry. Instead, it comes from something much older, The legends passed down by the local people themselves. Stories that speak of stones that could become soft, like clay. Were these ancient legends simply myths, or could they preserve the last forgotten memory of a technology lost for over 1,000 years? In the next chapter, we'll explore the mysterious legends of the Andes and what modern science says about them. Every great civilization leaves behind more than ruins. It leaves behind stories, legends, memories passed from one generation to the next. Sometimes those stories are pure mythology, but sometimes they contain small fragments of historical truth. Around Puma Punku, the local Aymara people have preserved ancient traditions for centuries. Some of these stories describe the site as a place created by powerful beings long before ordinary humans ruled the land. According to one legend, the creator god Viracocha emerged from the waters of Lake Titicaca after a great catastrophe. From there, he gave life to the first people, taught them knowledge, and built magnificent cities. Among those sacred places, Tiwanaku was said to be the birthplace of civilization itself. To modern historians, these are religious traditions, not historical records. But another legend has attracted far more attention. It tells of a mysterious substance, sometimes described as a special plant extract that could soften solid stone. Not melt it, not break it, but soften it until it could be shaped like clay. At first, that sounds impossible. There is no verified scientific evidence that such a plant has ever existed. Yet similar stories appear across different parts of South America. Some explorers even recorded local accounts claiming certain birds rubbed leaves onto cliffs, allowing them to carve nests into solid rock. Most scientists dismiss these tales as folklore, but others ask an interesting question. Could these stories be distorted memories of something real? Not magical plants, but forgotten chemistry. Imagine a technology passed down through generations, a secret known only to skilled builders. Over centuries, the practical knowledge disappears. The recipes are forgotten. The workshops vanish. All that remains is a legend that stones once became soft. It wouldn't be the first time practical knowledge transformed into mythology. Ancient civilizations often explain remarkable achievements through stories of gods, because the original science had already been lost. And that brings us back to the collapse of Tiwanaku itself. Around 1000 AD, this once powerful civilization began to disappear. Archaeologists believe prolonged drought, environmental stress, and political instability weakened the region. Trade networks collapsed. Cities were abandoned. Entire communities scattered across the Andes. When civilizations collapse, libraries disappear. Craftsmen die. Engineers vanish. Knowledge that took centuries to develop can disappear within a single generation. History has seen this happen many times. The formula for Roman concrete remained a mystery for centuries. The manufacturing techniques behind Damascus steel were lost. Even today, scientists continue trying to recreate ancient materials once believed impossible. So, could Puma Punku represent another forgotten technology? Perhaps. Or perhaps its builders were simply far more skilled than we usually imagine. Either way, the site reminds us of something important. Ancient people were not primitive. They observed nature. They experimented. They solved engineering problems using the knowledge available to them. And sometimes, their achievements still leave modern experts searching for answers. Today, new discoveries continue to reshape our understanding of Tiwanaku. Satellite surveys, drone mapping, and advanced archaeological research suggest the ancient city was far larger than early explorers realized. Much of it still lies buried beneath the Bolivian soil, which means the greatest discovery may not have been made yet. Every excavation uncovers new questions. Every stone challenges old assumptions. And perhaps, somewhere beneath the earth, the missing piece of this puzzle is still waiting. So after decades of research, what does the evidence actually tell us? Did Puma Punku truly preserve forgotten technology? Or have we simply underestimated the brilliance of ancient engineers? In our final chapter, we'll separate fact from speculation. and answer the question that has divided researchers for generations. After more than a century of excavation, scientific research, and endless debate, one question still refuses to disappear. Who built Puma Punku, and how did they do it? If you've watched this investigation from the beginning, you've probably realized something important. This mystery isn't black and white. It's far more complicated. On one side, we have the conclusions reached by mainstream archaeology. According to decades of research, Puma Punku was built by the Tiwanaku civilization between roughly 500 and 1000 AD. There is no credible archaeological evidence that the site is millions of years old, or that it was constructed by extraterrestrials, or by a vanished super-civilization with futuristic machines. The people who built Puma Punku were human. That much modern archaeology strongly supports. But being human doesn't make their achievement any less extraordinary. History often underestimates ancient civilizations. We imagine them as simple people struggling with primitive tools. Yet again and again, archaeology proves the opposite. The Egyptians aligned the Great Pyramid with astonishing accuracy. The Romans created concrete that survived for nearly 2,000 years. The Maya mapped the movements of planets with incredible precision. Perhaps the Tiwanaku deserve a place among those remarkable civilizations. Still, Puma Punku continues to raise difficult questions. How were stones weighing over 100 tons transported across such challenging terrain? How were the famous H-blocks shaped with such remarkable consistency? And why do certain cuts appear so precise that even engineers continue studying them today? These questions remain open, not because archaeology has failed, but because science is always evolving. Every new excavation, every new laboratory test, every new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle. The geopolymer theory offers one possible explanation. It attempts to explain the precision, the smooth surfaces, and the unusual microscopic findings reported by some researchers. It's an intriguing idea, one grounded in materials science rather than fantasy. But today, it remains exactly that, a theory. It has not yet gained broad acceptance within the archaeological community. More evidence would be needed before history books could be rewritten. And that's an important lesson. Real science doesn't accept extraordinary claims simply because they're exciting. It tests them, challenges them, questions them, again and again, until the evidence speaks for itself. Perhaps one day, future excavations beneath Tiwanaku will uncover an ancient workshop, a forgotten tool, a written record, or some entirely new evidence that changes everything we think we know. Until then, Puma Punku remains suspended between certainty and mystery. Maybe the greatest mistake isn't believing ancient people had impossible technology. Maybe it's believing they weren't capable of extraordinary achievements. Because history has shown us something remarkable. Every generation thinks it understands the past, until a new discovery proves otherwise. Perhaps that's why Puma Punku continues to fascinate millions around the world. Not because it proves aliens existed, not because it rewrites history overnight, but because it reminds us that human curiosity is never finished. Every unanswered question becomes the beginning of another discovery. And somewhere, high in the Bolivian Andes, those silent stones are still waiting for someone to finally understand their story. So, what do you believe? Were the incredible stones of Puma Punku shaped through centuries of human skill and determination? Or do they preserve the last traces of forgotten technology that has been lost time? Tell us your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest engineering mysteries, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Silent History, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next investigation. And if you want another mystery that challenges everything we think we know, watch our documentary on Göbekli Tepe next. It may just change the way you see human history forever. Until next time, keep questioning the past, because history still has secrets waiting to be uncovered.